Good morning. My name is David Chorley. I will be conducting today's webinar. Thank you so much for joining us today. In the chat window, we have Sean McNamara. So if you have any questions during the webinar, feel free to pop those into the chat window on your GoToMeeting screen, and Sean will be more than happy to address those as we move forward. So without further ado, let's go ahead and pop into Marketing Pro, where today's webinar is going to focus on setting up your Marketing Pro account. As you probably have seen, there are many things that you can do within your Marketing Pro account, but you really can't do much until it is set up and running. And that's what we are going to focus on today. So when you first log into your Marketing Pro account, actually with the first couple times you log in, it should automatically bring you to the Marketing Pro setup wizard. If it does not, then feel free to pop down here over to the left-hand side where you can see Pro Setup. You can click on Pro Setup on the bottom left and it will bring you to the exact same place. Okay, so again, Pro Setup down here on the left, and it will bring you to the Marketing Pro Setup wizard. Now, this is the time where I bring out the highlighter and we start highlighting because definitely up here on the Setup wizard, you'll see where we have a series of steps. Some of these steps are more important than others, and so I will make sure to highlight those as we move forward. But really, this is the crux of our webinar today, is going over these items here. The first item that comes up automatically is your profile, okay? And right here we see it, and below it we have all of this information here. This should be the easiest of the steps we're going to cover today. This is where we just have the basic information on the account. What account name do you want? What's the name on the account? What is your address? What is your phone number, etc.? Remember one thing, this is client-facing information. So when you send off an email from Marketing Pro, for example, this is where we get all of the information that we will insert on that email. So your website, your phone number, that will be on every email that you send out in theory. Also down at the bottom, if you are required to have broker-dealer or compliance disclosures, you must make sure that those are in here as well. The advantage, of course, here is that if they are listed here, then again, they will be included on every single email that you send out. If your compliance department is integrated with Marketing Pro, and most of you do have such an integration, then these will need to be approved in advance before you are allowed to use them. So the sooner you get these done, the better. Pop in all of this information here, and then down at the bottom, you'll see this blue button that says Update My Profile. Click on that, and that will automatically submit it to any compliance department that you have integrated with Marketing Pro. All right? Fairly straightforward, very easy. If you have any questions, just let us know. Otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and move forward. The next step up at the top here is your credit card. And I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about this because if you are required to have a credit card on file, you more than likely already do at this point. The only time you're really not required to have one is if you have a broker-dealer relationship where they do all the billing for Marketing Pro through their own commissions. So there are a few broker-dealers that we work with that just choose to bill for Marketing Pro in a different way. Most of the time it's through them and through their commissions. So you would not necessarily need a credit card on file if you are with one of those BDs. The only other two times that you might be required to have a credit card is if you, A, are doing any direct mail with us, and we will talk about that moving forward, any print work, greeting cards, letterheads. I will mention that as we go on. Or B, if you're using social media automation, which is a different feature that we offer that allows you to automate your social media posts. But those are literally the only two things I can even think of that would require an additional credit card. And again, I will go over both of those things in a little more detail as we move forward here. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on, and we are going to talk about the next step, which is the email settings. And I promise you, this is as technical as I will get this morning. This is not fun talking about this kind of stuff sometimes. But email settings really revolve around this guy right here. It is what we call the SMTP, and that is a real fancy way of saying your outgoing server. what server is actually delivering the emails from MarketingPRO. That's what this step is all about, okay? And it really boils down to really one thing. Your compliance department and any restrictions they put on what server you can use. So really the biggest indicator is, if you scroll down about halfway down the page, the biggest indicator you want to look for is this. If you see something that says use the MarketingPRO SMTP server, that indicates right off the bat that your broker-dealer doesn't have very strict regulations, and they will allow you to essentially use any server you want. If you see this, then we recommend that that is the setting that you use. It's just easier to get it up and running. You can simply bubble that in. It should be defaulted that way anyway, and then you can click Save Changes, and that will automatically put you on the MarketingPRO server. What does that mean? Well, that just means MarketingPRO is actually sending out your emails, but we're using your email address to do so. So when clients receive your emails, they're coming from you. When they reply to your emails, they're going back to you. No one knows the difference in the background that MarketingPRO is actually the one sending off your emails, okay? So in most situations, it's just easier to do it that way. And you can always change it later if you need to. So that's the first thing you want to look for. If you do not see anything related to the MarketingPRO server, then what you're looking at is probably something more that looks like this, where you are going to be providing the SMTP server information. And as I've said before, if your broker-dealer is sort of requiring that you use specific servers, then what you're probably looking at even further here is a drop-down menu right here in this box. A drop-down menu that actually lists the approved servers that your broker-dealer allows. Very common servers involve Smarsh, Office 365, Redtail. Some broker-dealers like LPL have their own servers that you like to use. So it just very much depends on your broker-dealer, and hopefully you already have some idea of what server you're already using. Just a heads up, though, that sometimes you might be clueless. When I say the words SMTP, you might just have no idea what I'm talking about, and you might need to contact someone in an IT capacity or someone at your broker-dealer, a resource center of some kind, so that they can tell you what server you are using and give you this information. But what you will require are three things. You need three things in order to make this step happen. Okay, you need absolutely the server information, and that's the server address. You will need the username, and you will need the password for your email. And we say username and password, we're not talking about the MarketingPRO username and password. We're talking about the username and password for this email right here. Whatever email is listed there, that's what we need, okay? In a perfect world, you will be able to put this information here, click Save Changes, and it will work automatically. They will validate with no issues. If you're running into issues, if it's not working, then that's when you either can call us. We'll make sure you get the support information for MarketingPRO, or like I said, contact someone in your IT department to make sure you are confirming that you're using all this right information. Okay? As I said, I promise it won't get any more technical on this call. I promise you that. But again, if you have any questions about it, pop those into the chat window and Sean can address those. Or like I said, just call us back after the webinar and we'd be more than happy to go into more detail on your specific needs here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move forward, and we're going to jump on to the next step, which is a lot more fun, I promise, and that is going to be your email template. Your email template. So this guy right up here in the middle, and I'm going to focus on the word email here because there's often some confusion about what these actually are. So this is a template for email communication. Any email you send out in MarketingPRO will use one of these templates, and you have to have one of them approved by compliance. Questions I get often on these are, hey, I like this newsletter that I'm using. Can I print that out with my template and hand it out to my clients? And the answer is no. You cannot do that. There's no way to print these out. Secondary, hey, I want to take my newsletter that I'm sending out and I want to pop that over to my LinkedIn account using my template. How do I do that? And again, the answer is no. The only thing that you can do in Marketing Pro with these templates is send emails. That's all they're designed for, and that's all they are good for. So you cannot use them again for anything else other than emails. Okay, on these templates, really we have several different styles that you can choose from. So if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see there's a few different sections of templates that you can look at. Go ahead and look at all of them. I will say though, as a recommendation, we like to use these first two. We just think they look the best and they work the best. Of these two, I prefer this guy right here. We call them the Modern Clean templates. And I'm going to go ahead and click in there and you'll see why here. But within these templates, you see that everything gets put up at the top of the email, which we have learned over the years is preferred. And if you think about it, it makes sense. If a client opens up your email but maybe doesn't read it, or maybe it's a longer newsletter and they don't scroll down all the way to the bottom, at the very least, they're seeing your information. They're seeing your branding. They're seeing your face, your logo. And if they do that enough times, it really sticks with them. And that is the most important part about what we are doing here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this first one here, which requires a photo and a logo. If you have both, we recommend that you use both. But we do have templates that accommodate just a photo or just a logo. So this is fairly straightforward. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that you're putting in your images. Okay, so your logo will go up here, and all these templates really involve a horizontal shaped logo or a rectangular shaped logo. If you have a circle logo or a square logo, it might require some additional cropping, and we can certainly help you out with that. Same idea with the photo. Your photo is going to go over here on the left-hand side, and that is the exact opposite. It is going to be a more vertical type photo. So in other words, group photos or big company photos, which are more horizontal, will not work with these templates. Then you're going to want to just put in what we call the text fields. You can actually put whatever you want here, but use this as a guide, and this is what we recommend, that your name goes in the middle, your email address goes on the bottom, and that your phone number goes at the top. It generally just looks a little bit better, but like I said, you could actually put whatever you want in there. And then you really want to take a few minutes and focus on the colors, okay? I cannot tell you how many people fill out these templates with, orange logos and maybe green photos, but yet they don't come in here and change the background and color aesthetics of the template, so they end up having clashing orange and blue, and it just looks really bad. So make sure you try and color match the best of your ability to what you have already in your logo and your photo, okay? If you need any help with that, just let us know, and we have tools that can help you match colors exactly. We can get these hex numbers for you, no problem. But please take a moment and try and make it look a little bit better. Having a template that looks professional and looking as good as possible is so important to this process. And again, we will help you with anything revolving that if you just let us know. So when you're done, you'll come down here, you'll click Next, and you'll be prompted to save the template. Once you save the template, it automatically gets submitted to your compliance department. So you do not have to take any other action from there. You just have to wait for them to approve it. But like I said before, this is one of two steps that requires compliance approval. And so the sooner you get on this, the better. Sometimes it can take several days for some compliance departments to get these approved. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my back button. I'm going to actually show you some of the templates that have been submitted and are completed. So this is the same template that I just showed you. So this is what it would look like with a photo. That is my photo. That is a logo. My logo that perfectly fits in there. And I went ahead and got the exact color numbers for these colors, so I matched them perfectly. And you can see that makes all the difference. Now, with our templates, and really with anything content related in Marketing Pro, you will start noticing that we like to use merge terms. They're everywhere in our system, okay? In this case, we have 4 of them on this template: the website, the address, the company, and the disclosures are all in a merge term format. Okay, so if you remember, one of the first things I showed you on this webinar was your profile, right? Where you had your disclosures listed there. You had your website. This is where they fill in. So when you actually send out your email, when it is received by your clients, all of this information will be filled in. Your disclosures down at the bottom, your clickable website hyperlink up at the top there. It's beautiful. But a common question I get is, hey, why aren't they filling in right now? Well, they just don't. That is just not how the merge terms work in our system. The merge terms only fill in when the email is being processed by our server and sent out. Okay. But you can have as many different templates on file as you want, and these are just a few examples. So if you have anyone in your family or in your office that is graphically inclined and has Photoshop or some graphic design software or experience, then you can create your own customized banners. These are some banners that MarketingPRO actually uses for communication. You can see here that this is a banner and a footer style. But you can actually set up banners for specific occasions. This is one that a client likes to use for any of their fall or their autumn emails. They like to do sort of seasonal looks. Here is an example of a template that we use for daylight savings. So this is 2 emails a year we send out, and we just use this templates to do that, to remind people to roll forward or roll back their clocks. So you can use specific emails for specific occasions. You can use one template for every email you send out. There's no right or wrong answer to that. But like I said before, you do need at least one template moving forward. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the Pro setup. And again, if you have any questions, just pop those into the chat window. And now we're going to focus our time on probably the most important step of all, and that is getting your contacts set up within MarketingPRO. You need a database of contacts. Obviously, you need someone to send all this information to. So in setting up your contacts, you really are looking at 2 ways of getting us that information. So I will focus in on both of those ways. So first of all, what we're going to do is we are going to click up here at the top where it says contacts. That's going to bring us to the main contact screen. And we are going to focus first on syncing your contacts. Okay? So if you have a contact management system that integrates with MarketingPRO, then syncing your contacts is absolutely the #1 thing you should be looking at. Okay? Down here at the bottom where it says sync your contacts, we're going to click here. And we're going to pull up 3 logos, one for Redtail, one for Salesforce, and one for Smart Office. If you are a customer of one of those 3 entities, then congratulations, your databases can automatically integrate with our system. And again, that is absolutely the direction you should be looking at. For this webinar today, I'm going to focus in on Redtail. All right. So I'm going to click on Redtail, and then I'm going to be looking at these 2 buttons here. There's 2 gray buttons. You're going to want to ignore this one down at the bottom, and you're going to want to look at this middle one, the one that says Enable Redtail Sync. Click here and agree to the terms. Okay. So then you are going to be looking at your Redtail account, and you're going to be looking at a username and password. Again, that is your login information for your Redtail. That is what they're asking for here. And that can be anyone's. A lot of times with Redtail, you have multiple users that are using it. So it doesn't matter which one, as long as it is a valid login and password. Then you're going to click Verify, and that is going to bring you to a step that I cannot show you because I do not have a Redtail account to show you. But essentially, you will be looking at syncing all of your contacts, or you will be looking at syncing a select group of contacts. Okay? The same thing applies for Salesforce. The same thing applies for Smart Office. It really comes down to those 2 options. If you have no good reason not to, then I would recommend that you just sync everything. It's just easier to do that. You never have to question it. If you add a new contact into Redtail, you just know it's coming over. However, there might be situations, especially if you are sharing your Redtail account with other advisors. So then you'd have very specific reasons why you would not want all the clients over in MarketingPRO. You just would want to select few. So in that case, you want to go with the option that only syncs certain groups, okay? And the word groups is used in different ways based off of the platform you're using, okay? And this is probably something you want to jot down. In Redtail, they call them tag groups, T-A-G, tag your it, tag groups. Those are what sync over as groups in MarketingPRO, tag groups. In Salesforce, they call them campaigns, and those campaigns need to be active in order for them to sync over. In SmartOffice, they call them sets, S-E-T-S, sets. They all work the same way in the end. They all come over to MarketingPRO as groups. And those groups end up being very, very important in the overall use and maintenance of MarketingPRO. So I'm not going to go too far down those rabbit holes. If you are Redtail, SmartOffice, or Salesforce users, oftentimes you have your own unique set of circumstances. So just let us know after the webinar, and we can address those moving forward, or you can call our support line at any time and get more information. Okay? Once you have completed that, the last thing you have to do is click the Save button on your sync settings. You save it, and then you're done. The sync, no matter what sync you're using, the sync works constantly in the background. You never have to update it, turn it on or off. It's just always looking in the background for changes. Like I said before, if you adjust a contact, that comes over to MarketingPRO automatically. If you add a new contact or create a new tag group, that comes over to MarketingPRO automatically. Okay? Just makes life a lot easier for everyone involved when you're using these CRM integrations. Let's take a look at the other way. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my back button here. So if you are not a customer of Redtail, Salesforce, or SmartOffice, then really you're looking at getting us an Excel spreadsheet so that we can upload your contacts automatically. You always have the option of going in and entering your contacts one by one in a MarketingPRO. You certainly could do that. But if you have more than 50 contacts, it's not a good use of time. And you just might as well give us an Excel spreadsheet so that we can do it all in one massive upload for you. So again, we are back here on the contact step, and you are going to look at this section right here. There are two blue buttons. The first blue button is an Excel spreadsheet that sort of gives you the formatting that is required for our uploads. So let's use a common example here. Let's say you're using Outlook, and Outlook is where you have all of your contacts stored. What we will require from you is that you do an export from Outlook, and the export usually comes in two formats. You can give us an XLS, or that's just a basic Excel file, or a CSV is very common, CSV file. That's very common in most contact management systems where you're going to do an export, okay? That exported Excel file needs to be in a certain format, and this little guy right here will show you exactly what that format requires, okay? So I'll go ahead and give this a download for you so you can take a look. I'm going to open this Excel file, and it's very simple, very straightforward, but it just gives you the very, very basics on what it needs to look like. And I will go ahead and drag this over here so you can see it. Okay, so it's a blank Excel spreadsheet that gives you all of the column headers up here at the top, okay? Now, first of all, don't be intimidated by this. You don't need to give us all of this information. This is actually just an idea of the amount of information you could give us if you can, but you don't have to. To be honest, at a bare bones minimum here, you don't have to give us anything but the first name, the last name, and the email address, okay? You could actually just give us that information if you needed to. If you're just looking at sending emails out, that's all you need. First name, last name, email. But as I've alluded to before, we do offer a variety of other things. Like you could give us the home address for your contacts, for example. We could send them cards. We could send them physical letters in the mail. We could send them postcards. If you have their birthday, absolutely give us that information. We can automate birthday emails, birthday cards. We can run campaigns based off of their age. You know, if you want your over 55ers to get the retirement newsletter and maybe your millennials to get our millennials newsletter, we would need the age of your contacts in order to make that work more efficiently. Your spouse information, we can run spouse campaigns. We have fields even for envelope names if you want to do Christmas cards and things like that. So the more information you can give us, the better. But like I said before, it's not necessarily required. It just is based on what you actually want to do. So assuming all of this information is filled in here on the spreadsheet, then you would save it. You would come back in here, and then you would find this second blue button down here, and that's where you can submit the spreadsheets to us. And in most circumstances, it takes about 24 hours for us to access your spreadsheet and to get it uploaded for you. Okay? But that is by far and away the easier way to go. So a brief recap. Redtail, Salesforce, and Smart Office users highly recommend that you use the sync feature. Anybody else, we're looking at exporting an Excel spreadsheet, getting that cleaned up and formatted correctly if necessary, and then submitting that to MarketingPRO so that we can just do a mass upload for you. This usually doesn't affect most accounts, but we do have a 5,000 limit on contacts. You would be subjected to charges if you exceed that 5,000 limit, but in 98% of cases, most people have far less than 5,000 contacts. Again, if you have any questions on that, just let us know. Otherwise, we have covered really the most important things on the webinar today. So just briefly recapping, you want to make sure that you fill out your profile, submit it to compliance if necessary. You want to make sure that your email settings are accurately validated. And again, that might require IT involvement, compliance involvement, if you're not sure what that information is on the compliance side. You need to make sure your email template is filled in and submitted to compliance for review. And most importantly of all, you need a database of contacts, emails, addresses, birthdays, first names, last names, so that we can have somebody to send things out to. Once these 4 things are completed, then bam, you're actually good to go. You can actually start sending out emails immediately. And if that's all you want to do is send out emails, you're actually good to go. As I've said before, though, we do offer a few additional items aside from emails, so I will take a few moments on the webinar today and describe what those are. So we will go into direct mail territory now. MarketingPRO has its own print shop located in the state of Oregon, and we offer several different products that we can print and send out for you there. A really unique product that we offer is called a newsletter postcard, okay? And this is a alternative to the electronic newsletters that we offer. They are particularly useful for any client that you have that maybe doesn't use emails all that often, perhaps are on the elderly side, and they maybe don't even use computers all that often. They still, look for things they can hold in their hand from the mailbox. And if that's the case, we absolutely recommend that you use this postcard. It's called a Silver Lining. It focuses on only the positive things that have been going on in that particular month, and we've had some extremely positive feedback on this. They're $1.51 a piece. And just in general, just know that anytime you send anything out in the U.S. Postal Service, that there's always an additional price tag on those. This particular one is 6 inches by 11 inches. It's front and back, full color. And you can personalize that information with a photo and a personal message here if you'd like. There's no minimum or maximum to these. You can send out 1 a month if you want. You can send out 500. It doesn't matter to us. But you can automate these as well. So like I said, if you have 2 to 3 clients that don't use emails and you want to make sure they get a monthly communication for you, it's a very minimal cost, and you can completely automate those as well. All right, going back to the setup wizard, the next step up here is the custom handwriting. Okay, we offer a really unique system in which you can provide us with your handwriting and also your handwritten signatures that can be used on greeting cards, okay? And this is not good for emails. You can't use this for letters. You can only use this for our greeting card function, which is primarily what we do for direct mail. It's the number one thing that we offer. In particular, automated birthday cards, automated holiday cards, get well cards, sympathy cards, invitations, postcards, you name it, we have it. And so if you want to see what they look like with your handwriting, then just press this big blue button right here. You can download our custom handwriting font that will give you all the instructions you need. If you have lousy penmanship, to say it nicely, you might not want to even go down this road. But in any regard, if you have handwritten signatures that your clients will recognize, we definitely take a looking at that. It takes about 20 minutes to fill this out. There's no additional cost to do so. But if you want to see what our products look like, if you want to send a test to yourself or something like that, we do recommend that you go down this road and see what it looks like. The letterhead is the last thing on the setup wizard, and that's just about as straightforward as it comes. If you want to send out a letter using MarketingPRO, you can certainly do so. We just need your compliance-approved letterhead, a blank PDF, a blank Word document, whatever you want, you can get us that. The other thing that we need, and this is what most people actually forget to give us, and so I will even use my highlighter here, is that if you have a compliance department integrated with MarketingPRO, we actually need you to provide us with the compliance documentation. You need to say, hey, this is the document that tells us that compliance has approved this letterhead. If you don't give it to us, then we actually are not allowed to upload it. So please, if you give us your letterhead, please also give us the compliance doc that goes with it. Thank you so much. So that concludes this portion of the webinar, the Setup Wizard. There is one other major thing, though, I want to cover before we go, and that involves social media. Social media is big nowadays, and you can integrate your social media accounts with us directly. What you're looking for is over on the left-hand side is the social media dashboard, okay? 90% of you will see that with no problem. If you are logged in right now and you're looking at over there on the left and you're saying, Dave, I don't see the social media dashboard. If that is the case, then your compliance department, for whatever reason, has not allowed social media and has that disabled. So again, if you do not see social media dashboard on the left, that means your compliance department does not allow it. So if you do see it, then you can click on there, and that will bring you to a page that looks something like this, where you will see a gray button on the right that says Add Account. Once you click Add Account, then you will be, in most situations, you'll see all three of these, where you can integrate a LinkedIn, a Twitter, and a Facebook account. Every now and again, you'll have a broker-dealer that maybe doesn't allow Twitter or maybe doesn't allow LinkedIn or something like that. But in most cases, you'll see all three. Very easy. You'll just click on these. You'll be prompted to put in the LinkedIn password and username for each of those things. The Twitter, Facebook is exactly the same. The only difference is with Facebook, we do not integrate with personal Facebook pages. We only are allowed to integrate with company or business pages on the Facebook side. But that is as straightforward as it comes, and then you can use our social media content within MarketingPRO to directly post to those platforms. Okay, we're right about the half-hour mark, which concludes the main setup features for MarketingPRO, and it concludes the main things that I wanted to go over with you. Over on the left-hand side, down here at the bottom, you'll see a support tab. You can click support, and then you can click contact us. That's going to bring up the main information for our support team. We have a support team that is here Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We want to help you. We want to be able to help you with any of these things that we've gone over, especially your SMTP settings, your templates, and your contacts. So if you have any questions at all, do not hesitate to email us at support@marketing.pro or call us at 866-254-6035. Again, don't be shy. We really, really, really want to hear from you. So thank you again for spending your morning with us today here on this webinar. Thank you so much for using MarketingPRO. And again, if you have any questions, please just let us know.